Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to solve multi-step inequalities. So solving multi-step inequalities is very similar to solving equations, okay? The only thing that's different is that instead of having an equal sign, you have an inequality symbol. So you have an inequality symbol instead of an equal sign goes here, okay? All right, by an inequality symbol, I mean less than, equal to, greater than, or equal to. There's our inequality symbols. They're going to work just like solving an equation. The only thing, remember that when you multiply or you divide, okay, and this is important, both sides, okay, by a negative number, you're going to flip the inequality sign. By flipping it, if it's less than, you're going to make it greater than. If it's greater than or equal to, you're going to make it less than or equal to. Okay. The other thing we need to remember is when we're graphing it on a number line, so say I had a number line here and this is at 1 and we had the inequality x is greater than 1. We would make a circle, an open circle at 1 and then everything greater than it. So the arrow would go to the right. Okay, so open circle if it's greater than or less than, or we color it in if it's greater than or equal to. Okay, so that's the difference between the circles on our number lines. Okay, so remember to use our acronym DC-MAM. D means we first distribute, then we combine like terms, we move the variable to one side, we add or subtract, or we multiply or divide. So that's our order that we used when we solved multi-step equations. It's going to work the same way with inequalities. We do have our special cases. So if you solve an inequality and you create a true statement, then the solution is all real numbers. Okay, we use the symbol R, or all real numbers. Okay, and the other special case is when you solve an inequality and you create a false statement. That's when we have no solution. Okay, so let me give you a quick example of something like that. So if I had the inequality 2 times x plus 2 and I had it is less than 2x plus 4. Okay, so watch what happens. We're going to distribute. We get 2x plus 4 is less than 2x plus 4. Okay, when we bring the 2x to the other side, we move the variable. Our variables cancel out, and we're left with 4 is less than 4. Well, we know that 4 is not less than 4. It's less than or equal to. So in this event, 4 is less than 4. This would be false statement, so there would be no solution. Okay, and then on the graph, to graph it, we would just leave the graph empty. Okay, no solution. Okay, but if we decided, say this was less than or equal to, okay, in that case, for less than or equal to 4, that would actually be true. And in that case, it would be all real numbers. All right, so all real numbers, or that little R. Okay, and how we graph all real numbers is just a line above the number line going both directions with an arrow. It means any number would work. Okay, so we're going to do a few examples in this video. I'm not going to do every one simply because we've got 14 examples and the answer key is out there on Schoology, so you're welcome to go out and see how to do each problem. So we're going to start with number 1. 2x is less than 4. We're going to divide both sides by 2. We're going to get x is less than 2. It's an open circle, so it's less than, so we're going to make an open circle at 2. And it's less than. Our x values are all less than 2, so they're going to be any values going to the left. All right. If we did number 2, we're going to add 1 to both sides. Then we get 3x is greater than negative 9. We're going to divide both sides by a positive 3, so we're not going to worry about flipping the sign. Our x is going to be greater than negative 3. Okay, so x is greater than negative 3 means we put our open circle at negative 3 and we do everything to the right, or greater than. Okay, at any time I want you to pause the video, try some, and then continue on and check your work. All right, so number 3, I'm going to start by subtracting 2 from both sides. My 5x is greater than or equal to negative 15. And then I'm going to divide both sides again by a positive, so I'm not going to flip the sign. My x is going to be greater than or equal to negative 3. Okay, so now I'm going to go to negative 3. I'm going to make my circle, but then I'm going to color it in because it says it's greater than or equal to. And because it's greater than, my arrow is going to go to the right. All right. Now number 4, watch what happens. We're going to solve for x, so we're going to divide both sides by -2. Notice both sides, okay, both sides, negative. Okay, that means we need to flip the sign. X then, instead of being greater than or equal to -5, it's going to be less than or equal to -5. Okay, so we go to -5. We color in our circle because it's less than or equal to, and our arrow is going to go to the left, even though we go off the number line. That's fine. All right. Number 5, we're going to distribute first. We get -3x minus 6 is is greater than or equal to 9. Then I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So my -3x is going to be greater than or equal to 15. All right. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative. There's my both sides. I'm going to flip the sign. My x is going to be less than or equal to a -5. Okay. So the -5 is here. It's going to be colored in. I'm going to go to the left. Number 6, we're going to start by distributing. -8 is less than or equal to 4x plus 4. Then I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. -12 is less than or equal to 4x. And then we're going to divide by 4. Okay, but we're dividing both sides by a positive, so we don't need to worry about flipping the sign. -3 is less than or equal to x. Okay, now at this point, I want you to be careful. Okay, -3 is less than or equal to x. So we're going to go to -3. We're going to color it in. All right, but because -3 is on the left side, that means x is actually greater than or equal to -3. Okay, so I find it's easier to put my variable on the left and kind of read it backwards. X is greater than or equal to -3. Then it helps me write my arrow. Okay, because I know all the values of x are greater than -3. All right, let's look at number 7. When we distribute, we've got -2x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 2x minus 6. I'm going to subtract my 2x from both sides. We get -4x minus 4 is greater than or equal to -6. I'm then going to add 4 to both sides. I'll do below. We get -4x is greater than or equal to -2. Okay. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative. So here's the key. I'm going to flip it. X is less than now or equal to, and 2/4, -2 over -4 is actually 2/4, which can simplify to be 1/2. All right, so we can graph a fraction on a number line. Let's go between 0 and 1. That's where 1/2 would live. And let's put a colored in circle, and it's everything less than it. All right, number 8. All right, when I distribute, I get 3 minus 6x is greater than 3 minus 6x. When I add 6x to both sides, I end up with 3 is greater than 3 because our 6x's cancel out. Here's one of our special cases. This is a false statement because 3 is not greater than 3. Okay, so therefore, whoops, we've got no solution here. All right, so we don't put anything on the graph. All right, let's look at number 9. We've got -10, okay, minus 12n is less than 48 minus 12n. Now when I add my 12n to both sides, what happens is they both cancel out, and we're left with -10 is less than 48. Well, that's a true statement. So that means the solution here is all real numbers, which to graph it, we just put a little line above it going both directions saying every value would work. All right, so write the little r, or you could put all real numbers. All right, so if you guys want to pause the video right now and try number 10 for me, okay, and then start it back up and let me show it to you. -x minus 2 is less than or equal to -x minus 2. So I distributed that negative. Now I'm going to add my x to both sides. When I do that, they cancel out, and I'm left with -2 is less than or equal to -2. Okay, well, that's a true statement. Because that's a true statement, again, this is all real numbers. All right, or we can put our little r, and we can graph everything. All right, so continuing on, number 11. Now I'm going to start by distributing. It's okay if my variable is an x, okay? In this case, it's a g. I'm going to distribute 4g minus 18. Okay, I'm going to combine my like terms, so I have 9g plus 2 is greater than or equal to 4g minus 18. I'm going to move the variable, so I'm going to subtract 4g from both sides. When I do that, I have 5g plus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 18. And then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. 5g is greater than or equal to negative 20. And then I divide by 5. Okay, now again, I'm dividing by a positive 5, so I'm not going to flip the sign. So my g is going to be greater than or equal to negative 4. I go to negative 4. I color it in because it's greater than or equal to, and my arrow will go to the right. All right, number 12. When I distribute my 8 times 3/4, reminder how we do fractions. You just multiply the numerator, you multiply the denominator, and that's how we get 6. So this is going to be 6x plus 8 is greater than 7x plus 5. I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. Okay, negative x plus 8 is greater than 5. And then when I subtract my 8 from both sides, I end up with negative x is greater than negative 3. Now I'm dividing both sides by negative, so I need to flip it. X is going to be less than 3. Okay, we go to 3 on the number line, we make an open circle, we bring it to the left. All right, now number 13. All right, we're going to start by subtracting 5x from both sides. We've got 4x plus 2 is less than negative 18, and then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. 4x is going to be less than negative 20. I'm going to divide by 4. My x is less than negative 5. I'm going to go to negative 5, open circle, to the left. And then the final example, although it has a fraction, we can work with it. We're going to subtract negative 1/4 x from both sides. Notice they have the same denominator. A negative 3/4 minus 1/4 is a negative 4/4, which is negative 1. Or we can write this as negative x minus 5 is less than negative 7. We're going to add 5 to both sides. When we do that, we get negative x is less than negative 2. And finally, we have to divide both sides by negative 1. So we're going to flip the sign. Our x is greater than 2. We make an open circle, and then we go to the right. Okay, so hopefully you were able to stop the video and try a few and go from there. Bye-bye.